and I will post this, share this on my community page. I'm laying down though, it's dark in here. But I'm just gonna say the message. So I just got a spiritual download. It's 1:29 a.m. and here's a spiritual download. It might help somebody who's less competent, who's less wise. Okay. So for example, let's say that you just began a relationship, or this is for people who just began a new relationship, just started dating someone. This is for people who are, talking to someone, and or, this is just in general. You know, there are different variations of relationships. We all know there are the devilish relationships that are karmic, right? The devilish, toxic relationships that deal with ego and lust and greed. Those are karmic situationships that don't last long. We know how to decipher those relationships because they have some type of like past energy to them, right? There's like they're non-harmonious, something always feels off, something feels bad. There's constant, like battles or whatever. So we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. This video is for the manifestation relationships that were manifested on divine timing, that are divinely orchestrated, that are literally harmonious, good for you. They represent healing, a true soulmate, the healthy relationship that comes into your life. We're talking about those relationships that are meant to be, these are the signs to tell, right? So we're talking about two different things. So this video is directed towards manifestations. So, for instance, we all every day are manifesting consciously. Whenever we get the magician card, that means we are in a position to use all of our skills and talents to speak in existence what exactly it is that we want to bring into our reality. So if you have done that shadow work, which I have already done the shadow work, you manifest, your person or your next person or your next relationship out of a manifestation that you planted a seed in the universe, you spoke it into existence, and it came about on divine timing. It almost appears to be, a very harmonious connection, relationship. Things are working out in your favor. There's good luck. You're being treated right, you're being talked to nicely, the person is spending money on you, this person is being intentional, their motives are in the right place, and what it is about that relationship, why it's so special, is because, yes, you can tell it's a manifestation because you've already spoken these things into existence. It's almost like having a vision board and like putting on your vision board the relationship that you dream of, and then one day you manifested it, right? So this is all about that. So when you're talking to someone, always keep in mind that here's the message. Always keep in mind that manifestations are a process. The process is like a formula. The formula is you plant the seed, you water the seed, you nurture the seed, you allow the seed to grow in the ground for stability, and then it blooms in due season. So therefore, it cannot be rushed. If it's a real, genuine, authentic relationship that's based on true love, it's not rushed. So therefore, you give it its space, you give it its air, you give it its breath, you allow it to breathe. You have all these healthy, modalities to allowing it to thrive. You get what I'm saying? You speak peace over it, you nurture it, basically, and it's really a healing connection. So when you're in that relationship, you consciously are understanding that you are actually the master of the connection because you are manifesting it daily. Being intentional with your thoughts, being intentional with your words, being intentional, you're actually attracting it in, drawing it in closer to you, especially when you don't like have none of those unhealthy toxic traits of the karmic past relationships. You've evolved from that, so I want to help people keep in mind that when you're manifesting your dreams, which are not fairy tales, they are actual realistic manifestations that are real, that come to life, because everything is based off your faith, because your faith moves mountains. Now, when these things actually happen, like, you have to understand this is a process. It takes time. So this is not some microwavable, fake love, which is karmic. This is the actual, like, real life thing where you're like, because you stayed positive, because you stayed optimistic, because you did your shadow work, because you did the manifestation work, because you did the positive affirmations, because you did the vision board, because you did, all the things that you're supposed to do in your spare time to speak in existence what kind of, relationship you wanted or kind of person you wanted. You didn't settle, you did the work, and the universe orchestrated this connection for you to come in your life. You realize, you get a lot of spiritual downloads and signs that, and revelations that, yes, this is right for you. You can feel it in your nervous system, you can feel it in your gut, you can feel it in your, your body, when something is right for you. But you feel fertile, basically. And then you can feel the karmic stuff. The karmic stuff is like, okay, that makes me feel off balance. That makes me feel out of alignment. That makes me feel like, confused. Or that makes me feel that's the karmic. You get what I'm saying? That's what doesn't last. That's what fades away. Um, but yeah, once you get conscious and you heal from traumas, and you don't trauma bond anymore, and you actually get alone, you start to manifest things, things do definitely start to come alive for you. But, let's say you're talking to someone, right? I'm gonna give you guys this information too. When you're talking to someone, you don't possess them when you're in a healthy co-creation connection. When you're in something healthy, you do not possess each other. You guys hold space for each other to heal, to be yourselves, to come authentically who you are, to be genuine. An unhealthy karmic connection, people possess people. People feel like they are expected to show up. No, in a healthy co creation bond, you both respect each other's boundaries and give each other space to grow. And that's a part of nurturing, that's a part of love. So when you're doing your work, you decipher what real love is from lust. Lust is that part of that karmic stuff. Because it has expectations, it has unrealistic expectations, it has low wisdom. It's like there's a lot of incompetency there. There's not a lot of depth there. But when you're in a real manifested connection, that's a constant, conscious, healthy connection, you are in something very stable, not shallow, not superficial. Both people most likely are mirroring each other in some type of way, whether they both work a nice job, they both got money, or they both have stability in their world, you know. And you could tell when you're in that, the person treats you different than what a karmic would treat you. So, anyways, long story short, you won't fret over the little stuff. You will see the future. You'll have foresight, and you'll have more revelations, more spiritual downloads, all that good stuff. But when you're still in that phase of karmic relationships, of course you're going to suffer. Of course you're going to go through confusion. Of course you're going to go through uncertainty. Of course you're going to go through this learning, process of like growth. Like, what do I need to learn, and how do I need to grow from here, to get to the next relationship or the next phase. And it's all about becoming conscious. When you're conscious, you now have the skill of mastering your reality. So I'm in that phase of my life where I can like actually tell people and teach people like you got to get into the self mastery energy of co-creating your reality through manifesting, through prophesying, through speaking it into existence by walking by faith. The moment you start to be negative, and this is the last thing I'll say, I noticed a lot of subscribers like they mess up their chances because they're so negative. And it's, you know what negativity is? Negativity is unhealed trauma. You know, they have not healed. They have not done their shadow work. They have not done the hard disciplinary work. They have not broken down their egos. They have not fully done the positive affirmations. They have not done a vision board. They have not done, you know, any like prayers or any like self talk. You know, these are people who are like self defeating, you know, and until they realize that, they're going to struggle. And a lot of those people go to tarot readers expecting, you know, beautiful outcomes, but it doesn't work like that. You really have to do the work. So, long story short, do your work, do your work, and do your work, and then you'll glow up, and then you'll be happy. And the whole point is to get to your happiness, get to your joy, and get to your peace. You can't have that if you still have anger, madness, trauma, triggers, you know, stuff that's unhealed. So that was a spiritual download. Something told me I need to tell people that. Whoever wants to watch this, I will post it on my community page. Um, but yeah, that is the message on this video. And I'll be going live again shortly. Talk to you guys later.